I suggest we look at the Moor Europe art and take it from there. In European art, the Moor is always a classical African, pitch black, frizzled hair, a flat and wide face, flat nose, thick lips, and a subnasal prognathy. When you study the symbols of the Moors from the Renaissance of 1500, you will find that it did not start out like a black servant or a black page. The Drake Jewel 1575 shows the profile of a black king dominating the profile of a white woman. This symbolizes Africa dominating Europe and black superiority in Europe. The symbol of the Moor shows a blue man, which is a black man and means blue blood. We see many portraits of the nobility in which they pose very intimate with a little black boy or girl, which gives the sitter riches, mostly pearls which seem to symbolize Europe. The nobility was coloured, and some showed more African or Asian or white traits. These portraits are kept hidden or were destroyed around the French Revolution around 1789. Inside the Drake Jewel is a miniature of Queen Elizabeth I. Her father's sister, Mary Tudor, was the grandmother of Mary of Scots. Mary of Scots' son was James I, who married Anne of Denmark. They were grandparents to Charles II Stuart, who was named the Black Boy. Now, to interject slightly here, the word Savat is a Nordic word which means black. The Savats or the Stuarts were, from the title, the blacks of Europe. They were the grandparents of Charles II Stuart, who was named the Black Boy. He was described on a wanted poster issued by Parliament as a tall black man. Anne of Denmark had ordered a play, The Mask of Blackness, 1605, in praise of a black beauty which did not fade. The play was performed by members of the court, and it was explained how blacks, the sun people, came to Europe to look for a milder sun. In the play was a personage, a personification of the Niger River. The costume design showed a tall black woman. Anne of Denmark, the almost blindingly blonde woman, was almost certainly black, as of the whole Stuart dynasty of the black skin, the Savat dynasty. When one looks at the portraits of Charles II Stuart, the Black Boy, one finds many which show a white man with a long black hair and mustachio. But if one persists, there are portraits which show black skin, especially in the National Portrait Gallery. On their site, it shows many portraits of black skinned boy and later a black adult. Still, there is a lot of variation, but I have one pitch black portrait which shows classical African traits under a huge afro-like wig. So, there were black kings in Europe who somehow traced their origins in Africa and symbolized their blue blood with the image of a Moor. The portraits, which show black as white, would explain why the propaganda to make them look as white people they so despotically oppress. Other white portraits were overpainted over the original or authentic black portraits, or whitened copies of these, or outright fakes. All European museums show portraits of European elite with fake white skin colour. We know that all the European families were blood relatives. We know that all the European royal families were blood relatives. The Black Boy's mother, for instance, Henrietta Maria, was the daughter of Maria de Medici, Queen of France, and the aunt of Louis XIV, the Sun King. The sister of the black boy was Marie Henrietta Stuart, who was married to the Dutch stadholder William II. Their son was King Stadholder William III, William of Orange, who ruled Britain as William and Mary, 1650 to 1702.